Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Amy cast Verdant Confluence, choosing each mode one time. Nick casts Twincast on this spell. Nick doesn't control any creatures or have any permanent cards in his graveyard, so he wants to search his library for a basic land 3 times. Can he? If not, what happens? Alright, so I really like this question for the concept of copying spells just because there's so much going on. The first thing that we're going to need for the answer is this rule that says that if you copy a spell, you're also copying all the choices that were made during the process of casting that spell, including the targets, the modes, the value of X, whether any additional or alternative costs were paid, and so on. Now, this is the reason why pretty much every copy effect spell has some variant of choosing the new targets for the copied spell. Because let's face it, nobody wants to double cast a lightning bolt to deal 3 more damage on their own creature. That's just no fun. However, you'll notice that there is no such clause that says that you can change the modes. And that's the answer to the original question. Nick cannot change the modes, and he's stuck using the same 3 that Amy has chosen. Now, onto what happens when Nick's twin-casted Verdant Confluence actually resolves. So, we'll start with the returning a permanent card first. So, if we look at the targeting requirements on this mode, we'll notice that the card has to be in your graveyard. Now, whenever the word your appears on a card, we know that that means the person who controls that card. In this case, Nick. Now, we already said that Nick doesn't have any permanent cards in his graveyard to target, which means it's not possible for him to change the target of this mode to any other card that would be a legal target. So when this spell resolves, this mode will do absolutely nothing because the target that it has is not a legal target. And so the card that Amy targeted with Verdant Confluence is just going to stay in her graveyard until her own Verdant Confluence resolves and returns it to her hand. One other interesting thing about this mode is that there's this rule, which says that if you have the ability to choose new targets, you are not obligated to. And that's true even if the targets are illegal and will stay illegal if you don't change them. And it's also true even if you have the ability to change them to something that is not illegal. So, for example, if Nick had some card like, say, Bridge from Below that he wanted to keep in his graveyard, it would be possible for him to leave the target as whatever card was in Amy's graveyard so that he would not have to target his own Bridge from Below and take it out. Pretty cool, huh? Next, let's examine the mode that has 2 +1/+1 counters going on a creature. As we said before, Nick doesn't have any creatures, so he's not able to change the target of this mode. Unfortunately for Nick, the Verdant Confluence does not say that the creature has to be controlled by any particular player, which means that even if he stays with the original creature that Amy had, the 2 +1/+1 counters are going to go on it just fine. He could change to a different creature that Amy controls if he wanted to, but either way, he's helping Amy out, and that's probably something that he was not hoping for. Finally, the third mode, searching his library, works just fine. Although, we should point out that Nick might need to be a little bit grateful for the opportunity to put 2 +1/+1 counters on Amy's creature. The reason for this is because it's the only target that's legal on this spell. And as we learned last week, if we have a spell that has no targets that are legal, then it will be removed from the stack with no effect when it tries to resolve. Therefore, these 2 +1/+1 counters going on Amy's creature is the only reason why this Verdant Confluence is able to do anything at all, since there are no targets for the mode that searches your library. So, in the end, Nick will have twin-casted Amy's spell in order to put 2 additional +1/+1 counters on Amy's creature and get himself a basic land. Not the highest value play, but that's why it's important to watch Rules YouTube channels every day so you don't get tripped up by confusing situations like this. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.